Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how I've trained my horses to lie down. Now, teaching the lie down is something that I'd wanted to train for a very long time. There's something really magical about having a horse lie down with you. And I think it's because it's such a sign of trust and connection, and it's, yeah, very beautiful. But I think that can often get lost in the training of the lie down. There's a lot of different ways to teach horses to lie down, and they don't always, give the horse that voice, or that don't prioritize that connection. It then becomes about the behavior and making the horse do it, which often seems quite egotistical to me, that you've been able to get this big animal to lie down. Or it just seems that in the process of lying down, the connection's been lost. It's about making the horse do it. And also, depending on how it's trained, then physically, I've seen a lot of lie downs where the horse lies down in a strange way because of the way it's been trained. And I wanted it to be very natural for my horses. Physically, I wanted it to be healthy, and I wanted it to boost our relationship and be something they chose to do and enjoyed doing. So this is the process that I used to teach my horses to lie down. So the first thing that I think is really important before asking your horse to lie down in any kind of training situation is making sure that your horse is confident and comfortable with you being there when they're already lying down. So if you've got a horse who is a bit wary if you try and approach them when they're having a natural snooze, then I would suggest that the first thing that you do is just spend more time hanging out with your horse. Become more aware of the natural snooze times. There's usually a daily time when your horse will rest. And if you just spend time with the horse there, not even that close, you can be at a bit of a distance at first, but just taking time to be present and be peaceful there so that your horse trusts you when they're lying down. For me, that's really important, that when it comes to training my horses to lie down, they're already comfortable. And you can see here, Toby's actually sparked out completely. Rowan had already got up, but he was completely out. And I've had to, I've been there, been watching India dream, and my horses are all very comfortable, sleeping a lot. So that's the first piece. From there, I then use a process called capturing in order to begin to train the behavior. So I actually trained it from a roll rather than from a sleepy lie down, because if you're capturing a behavior, it means that you are the behavior is already finished. The horse is doing the whole behavior, and you're capturing that and starting to reward it and then put it on cue. So in that case, you need to find a time when your horse is going to lie down. And ideally for the training, you want that to be a time when it can be a little bit predictable. So my horses nearly always roll after a ride. And one of the things that I started to do with them was be more present. So I'd always generally untack them and then just give them some time in the arena to have a roll, have a graze. And when I started to train the lie down, I spent more time purposefully with them at the end of the session. So I started to be present when they were rolling. So you can see there with India that I just in the last clip, I untacked her and she rolled. And here with Freckles, I just finished the ride and then I untacked him. And again, I just stayed present with him in the arena while he rolled. Now, one of the things that I started to do was to actually untack them in the arena. So whereas I would normally take them into the yard, untack them, and then let them loose back in the arena, I started to untack them directly in the arena. You can see with Freckles, I've just put the saddle on the fence behind the camera, ask him to come back with me. And I am kind of starting to cue there, but at the beginning, you can see he's not really listening because he doesn't understand, but he knows that when he's been turned loose in the arena at the end of a ride, he can get to go have a roll. So I just started to be a little bit more present during those times. And the first thing I started to do was add a reward in when they got up. So at the beginning, I just wanted them to be comfortable with me rolling, to get used to me being there while they were rolling after a ride, and then to start looking to me afterwards, when they get up and get a treat. So at this stage, clearly, I'm not asking for the behavior. I'm just setting up the environment and the situation to make it likely that the horse is going to offer the behavior. And unlike most behaviors where we break it down and teach it bit by bit, With the lie down, I chose to capture it, so I was waiting for the whole behavior. India's already down here. So again, I'd just been filming a little bit of jumping, untacked her in the arena, and she was already down before while I was still putting the saddle away. And the next stage is to then try and, rather than just rewarding your horse after they've stood up, getting used to your presence, is to try and feed them while they're still lying down. So you can see here that when India had finished the roll, I tried to get some treats to her while she was still lying down before she got up. But it's still a roll, so she gets up pretty quickly. And again, just still get some rewards. We're just starting to make a little bit more of a positive association with her being down and being with me. It's a very relaxed, low-key approach. So just to clarify, when you do put the cue in, when you're capturing a behavior, the first instance is to create the situation where it happens. As you've seen, it's been the end of the sessions for me. The second bit has been to start to add the rewards in when your horse does that behavior spontaneously. So I started to reward them after, they'd had a roll and they'd got up. I just started to be present, and they started to expect at the end of a roll to get a reward from me. The third step is to start to put your cue in place. So thinking about what your roll cue is going to be. This video was at the end of a hack out. I'd been out for a ride with Nina again, and we'd untapped both the horses and taken them into the arena. They always roll when we've been out for a sweaty ride in summer, and they love the sand. So you could see as I brought them into the arena that I started to give my cue. Now at the beginning, it doesn't have any meaning. They will follow your body position a bit, but they don't really understand it. It's just that I knew they were going to do it. So I started to put my cue in, and they start to associate it. Again, at this stage, you can see it's very clearly a roll, not a lie down. But we're starting to put together my cue with the roll and then expecting a reward at the end. So here you go, asking with freckles at the end of a session again. So you can see I pointed to the ground, said roll, and he was desperate to go down anyway. Starting to get that cue. And this was the first time that he started to look to me while he was rolling. So you could see that so clearly there, that in the middle of the roll, he was like, oh, wait, hang on, there's going to be some treats here. And then I was able to get the reward in before he stood up. And at this point, he was just beginning to stay down a little bit longer. So here we go with India, end of a session, setting up for success, giving my cue, pointing to the ground, slowing my energy down, saying roll, walking on a little circle, sometimes pawing the ground, going down myself. And this is a really good bit here because you can see there we go. She looked to me then as I went down. It's a roll situation. It's what she wanted to do. And then here you go. Again, she looked to me before she got up. So just that process of rewarding the spontaneous behavior starts to bring their awareness to it, and they start to then expect a reward and start to look to you for it. And because was trying to get the reward in before she stood up, then both of them, you can see there, Freckles and India, beginning to, before they stood up, look to me and say, hey, do I get a reward for this? Still not staying down for very long, but and I'm not trying to make them. So whenever they want to get up, they can get up. That's absolutely fine. So those were roughly the steps that I took to capture and train the lie down positively. You can see more of the steps in the Connection Training Club. So for the lie down, that includes things like building duration, making sure that you're clarifying your cue so you can start to ask your horse to lie down at all different times. So not just at the end of a session when they're going to roll anyway. So I've used that a lot to explain to my horses when it's okay to roll, such as here at the beach, Freckles loves to roll. So it's nice to be able to have a cue that gives him tells him when it's okay to do and when not to do. I also cover what to do if your horse doesn't respond to your cue, or if they ask to lie down or try and lie down when you haven't cued. Getting the lie down in different places. So again, making sure that your cue is really solid and your horse is happy to lie down in the arena and in different locations. Building up the comfort of the duration so your horse is happy to lie down as you start to move around, and even building up to sitting on your horse and asking them to stand up with you on board as well. You ready? Should we get up? Yeah, good lad. That was brill. That was absolutely fantastic. So all of that is available in the lying down videos in the trick training course in the Connection Training Club. The CT Club is our online membership site where you can get access to hundreds of in-depth step-by-step training tutorial videos on how to teach your horse all sorts of different things using positive reinforcement. You can also get loads of support in there as well through the forum, our monthly Q&As. We have study groups that run. All of these are included in the membership. So if you want to find out more, then head over to connectiontraining.com. You can find out more. There's more information there and you can sign up there too. You can also read our book if you haven't done already. So you can head over to Amazon, search for Connection Training, and it'll pop up, and there's lots more information in there too. So thanks for watching and happy horse training.